Okay, what it is. Father Moo back again. That is the sound of religion, baby. Do you feel the religion? Well, we're back with day 2, probably the last day of patch analysis here. I just want to point out that the numbers are still screwed up, unfortunately. This says 33 melody switch, but in my synth, I go to save in synth. You can see that melody switch 33 is actually labeled as 32. And then, oh, here we go. Living Grass is 33 and 33. So we're going to get back on track real darn soon. And we'll fix these bad boys later on. Okay, it's all good. So as we said, we're going through the patches that were made. Just the 64 from the stream, nothing else for now. We're evaluating in a little note document the usability of those patches in an upcoming album. The general theme for the album is melodic Berlin School meets ambient. So things like techno are being left out, and things like aggressive lo-fi Game Boy stuff is maybe being left out. But we're trying to keep an open mind, and even a patch that seems like a weird experiment, if it finds a place, we're going to mark it as unlikely but not no, and drop it in. So, without further ado, we're starting at 33, and we're going to go to 64 today, which is where we have stopped. This one is certainly interesting, and it's demonstrating the switching between different melodies. But just with what I myself know, the direction that the streams end up going, these ideas get repeated and in more successful ways. So I think I'm going to leave this one as a no today. Let's go back to the Excel file. How should I number these now? What I should do is like this. And call this one So I just said, first melody switching experiment, too simple, which I honestly believe is true. Let's keep on plugging ahead here. So here's the real 33. The much discussed Living Grass, as we all know, one of my proudest moments as a synth weirdo. And despite what I said, I've evaluated this one again. I'm going to put this in as likely, just because so much of the stream was new patches, and this is the one place where I really said, let's take a look at my old patch. And this, for me, this is also like a representation of what I used to do, or what I would have previously called a success. So, especially since I know we've got quite a few melodic Berlin School bits to use, this is going to fall into the ambient noises category, but it is going to fall into it, so. So I just wrote down ambient random digital insect sounds, but heck, I know what this patch is, so it's no biggie. Let's keep on trucking. I remember this one. We built up the drums. This is a drummer from another planet. Okay, I think that's a no from me. There's nothing wrong with it. It was a great experiment, but it didn't really end up in a super musical place, so I think I'm going to skip it. Ditto for this guy, probably. Just labeling that as distortion experiment. I said I would give the weirdos a chance, and I certainly will. This just doesn't seem like the exact weirdo I'm looking for. Ditto for this one. Sorry, folks. It's just not there. There's interesting bits of melody in there, but I don't think it's enough to write home about, really. Okay, yeah. Again, it was cool to build it, but it's not really what I need right now. Here we're a little more. That sounds right. Just crank it a little bit there. Yep. There's enough melody and there's enough oddness too. Notice this 18-step sequencer here to give it that variation that we're looking for. The drums might be a little bit obvious, but I think we're gonna get some obvious drums on this album. I think that's where they're gonna, if they're gonna come from the Nord Modular, some of them are gonna be. So. So standard Berlin with some variation, that's a fair evaluation. This one is pretty much the same as the other drum experiment. So that's unfortunately a no. It's a lovely sweep, but I don't think we're going to actually use this one. This was the emulation of the Moog. Lovely to hear those three oscillators together. I got to remember to do more with that. Note to self. And here's the same thing, but quote unquote broken. It's more like modified, really. But it would cost you a lot of money if you tried to modify a real Moog and broke it, so we don't want you to do that. Don't do that. Do not write me letters asking if you should do that. Okay. Not the worst thing ever, but also not exactly what we are needing for the album. Okay, I remember this. We built a subtractive patch. And if memory serves, there's a couple of FM patches, and then the wave shaper. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time going through the stuff I know we're not going to use. In fact, I didn't really make those Clark FM brass patches, so I'm not going to use them on this album. Of course, I will use other people's presets, but... And here we have good old Jerome's idea. Turned out to be very influential on the stream as a whole in terms of the directions we went with pitch variation. But again, it's sort of it's just it's an experiment. I keep writing EXP here. Experiments aren't bad, especially on the modular, but they don't necessarily end up on the album. Well, this one is called Game Boy Band, and I said I didn't plan to do too many aggressive Game Boy sounds, but for me this is more like a variation on Berlin School with a bit of lo-fi added. I'm definitely not trying to compare myself to the big man, but it's an attempt to inject a little bit of Aphex Twin or Autechre type programming into Berlin School. Whether it succeeds or not is up to your evaluation. I'm going to write this one down as a maybe. So I call this one Berlin School, minimal drums, kind of lo-fi. I think that's a fair evaluation. Getting close to the end here of the analysis process. Oh, this guy. I think I wanted to use this one. Let me listen again. Yep. I was listening back to this one in some stream when this was the intro bit, and I was like, yeah, this is a good little ambient transition part. It's quite minimal, but it could have a synth pad or two overdubbed over it, and it could serve as the quote-unquote beat. So yeah, I'm marking them down as a yes. We are now on track 50. Sort of like the ring mod experiments, I kind of think this one actually has a chance. I'm going to describe it as what it is, atonal weird blips, but if we need that in the album, we know where to go. I wonder if this guy can do a good enough job. Maybe this is like the flip side to the Templescape. I just wrote generative gap-filled drums with singing bowls. I don't know if everybody here knows what a singing bowl is. It's like a metal bowl, and if you sort of massage it with a wooden dowel in the right way, it'll ring out. And that's the tone I was getting from at least one of the percussion instruments here. And it certainly crosses over with the it's just that pitch, that singing bowl pitch, that crosses over a bit with the Templescape patch. So maybe I should note that in the thing. Which one is Templescape? Is it matched to Templescape? It's this one, 15. Okay. So here's another thing that maybe I didn't make obvious at the beginning. My album is, or the tracks on my album are gonna combine multiple patches from the NMM, but they're not going to play simultaneously. They're not going to be lined up on top of each other. They're going to play in series. So a 4-minute song might be 2 minutes of dubbed down melody from patch 15 in this case, and then another minute and a half of dubbed down audio from patch 51, since they've been identified here as having a similar flavor. Will that always work? Absolutely not. But I do tend to work in the same keys. I work a lot in C major because it's easy for me to wrap my head around, and I work a lot in E because the default setting of the Nord modular is E major, and I guess they're associated minor keys as well. I remember one of the Berlin schools, I thought I was writing it in C and it ended up being in G because they're very similar. But yeah, that's the intent here, is to piece together similar chunks of audio to make longer pieces of music. And when the synth pad overdubs are added, they should add a transition that lets you fade from one movement to another if you want to get pretentious about it. Okay, here we go. This was a nice attempt to imitate Metasonics, but it's not going to fit the album. This one absolutely is. So this is not Berlin School. It's too weirdly clocked for that, and it has no drums. And it's not really playing the octave game, but I've liked this one since I made it, and I definitely think it's going on there. This unfinished atmosphere. Okay, well, this is the unfinished one. Let's listen to the finished one. So yeah, I think I'm going to skip 54, although I put it as unlikely in case I decide to use it maybe as a variation on 55. And 55 I described as likely, and amber atmos without melody. Again, when they're without a melody, that makes them useful for fading between other sections. So I could have, to go back to what I was saying before, I could have 2 minutes of the templescape, which has some melodic or tuned elements to it. Then, starting at a minute and a half, I could fade this in, even though it's at a different tempo. It's not in any kind of a key, so it won't sound bad against the first track. And then the first track fades out, and this one is still playing. And before this one ends, I fade track 51 in, which is the variant that sounds like the templescape. So I'm just thinking out loud here, but that's how my albums often get put together with these different sections. So there's 55. We're coming up on the end of the thing. Should be quite a lot of Berlin School to see here. Something weird about the melody of this one when I'm hearing it. Oh, yeah, this is the one that okay, yeah. So this is the switching melody one that turned out to be in the key of G. I've gone off this one a little bit. I just don't like it as much as I liked it when I made it. I think it's just that little repeating melody, which again, there's variation, but it's just too simplistic and bleepy. I think I'm going to change it from a likely to a maybe. Okay, let's dive in, keep going. This one certainly wasn't a very popular stream, and that's fine. I just wrote this one down. Maybe if you need weirdness. Seems correct. Okay, here we got a Berlin school with almost like the Asian or temple percussion behind it. Kind of reminded me of one of the other tracks, although I don't know which one it is right now. I just wrote, sounds like another track with rising minor melodic theme. Maybe I'll find that later when I'm doing the dub down process and remind myself. So, if you're taking anything away from this, write as much as you think is useful in the notes, even if it seems sort of half finished or half butted. Just do it anyway. Just give yourself whatever feedback you can use in the future. This one is almost like halfway between the temple tracks and the Berlin school tracks, so I don't know if it'll end up getting used, but it might serve as a useful bridge. We'll find out. Right. Here we go. I definitely like this one more than the last one, and I think it's the percussion. So I know 58 was reminding me of something. I don't think it was reminding me of 59. I think it was reminding me of one of the earlier Berlin school bits, but I've just written down here, variant on previous, better percussion. So I almost want to do this to sort of tell myself, use 59, but if you don't have to use 58, or you don't end up using 58, it's okay. They were designed as a set pair, but they don't have to go down that way. Right, of course. This one is gonna just take the same thing as this, because he is, of course, a variant on this. Wow, this one is even better, actually. So, I don't know how long this one is going to actually make it onto the album. Like, it may not be a 6-minute recording of just this, because that might not be interesting, but the chance of it making it onto the album are pretty good. Ah, yes, I remember this guy. Let's just listen a bit here. I thought I liked this one. Now I hear it and it sounds sort of samey. So I wrote, Berlin school maybe needs variation. I don't know about you, but we're reaching the end of the analysis, and the patches that are more similar seem to sort of jump out in how similar they are. Whereas when we were going through the whole stream and we did things like the fake monotribe, at least we went in a weird direction for a while. But here, What I certainly don't want to do is just drone on in the same vein forever. So if I made 20 Berlin School patches and I end up using 8 of them for 2 minutes each, that's fine if that's the best bits. And it's okay that we made more than we need. In music, you generally should. Okay, I remember this guy too. So I've just written here, perhaps an outro, kick drum a bit boring, just to remind myself to maybe do something better with it. It seemed good at the time. Sometimes maybe if I'm nearing the end of a patch, just putting in something as ultra simple as this kick drum on the 1 and 3 feels good to me. And then when I go back and listen to it, I'm like, yeah, that could be better. But there's still the fact that so many of the notes repeat and there's that one melodic voice just playing his own thing. I like it. So anyway, put it down as likely. 2 more left. Okay, Berlin Variations. Yeah, I remember this. Yep, I have a feeling this one is going to get used. So I wrote, more successful Berlin School with melody switching. There's bits of it that I think are not perfect. So my comment to myself was there, maybe tweak bassline voice, and that's true. And we got one more. Oh, of course, this guy. This is the M. Night Shyamalan patch. The spoiler alert patch. It's probably been spoiled by now, which is fine. So I wrote slowish amber sequence without drums. For me, I guess sequence and melody are similar in terms of their notatory function. But, yep. This one is almost certainly going to be, I think I can call this just yes, because once I did drag this up to the faster tempo, I realized this is something good. Something between melody and noise. And something different enough that I would definitely want to use it. So that's it. We've come to the end of the 64. There will be all the way up to 99 and more patches to be made. And I promise to dive into those. I'm also going to be doing the dubbing. I'm going to pick the tracks that were marked yes in these fields for sure. And then maybe some of the ones marked likely. And I'm going to... what's happening here now? And I'm going to... dub those tracks down to audio files, but I'm not going to do that today. So if you don't enjoy the album production stream, that's totally cool. You can keep watching the regular Nord Micromodular stream. We'll keep on keeping on there, even though the cutoff point for the album may be track 64 here. I think we've got enough to make, I don't know how long the album will be, but based on how I usually put things together, I think we have enough for 7, 8, 9 tracks at about 4 or 5 minutes each, give or take. So yeah, keep on tuning in. If there's only one part of the stream you like, then just listen to that part. And feel free to leave your comments so I know what you think about all this stuff, because all I can see right now is people voting with their feet, by which I mean, if I see a stream has 108 views, I think people liked it, and if it has 17 views, I think they didn't. They tried it and they didn't come back to it again, or they didn't finish it. So, do I blame you for that? No, it's just that that's the only way I can judge what the community finds interesting. So, yeah, for now anyway, leave me a comment if you like or dislike the direction something's going. But we'll be back with more of the quote-unquote normal streams very soon. Thank you so much. It's been another lovely Sunday serving you in the Church of Moo. Peace out.